Hey, it's Jordan with the Young Turks and TYT Politics, day 3 of the Democratic National Convention here in Philadelphia. Yesterday was a real a rabble-rousing day. We'll get into that. I have a viral sensation and a wonderful Virginia Beach delegate here with me. There's been a lot of activity over the last day. I'll start with you. You've been all over the internet. I got to watch it yesterday. On Monday, Bernie Sanders had spoken out to his delegates, and you were speaking outside after a lot of disappointed delegates, and you basically, said what you felt. I'll paraphrase, but you said, "I don't give a fuck about Donald Trump," among other things. I should say your name's Portia Berger. Sorry about that.
Bolger.
Portia Bolger, excuse me, and Jennifer Lester. So you were kind of pouring cold water on this mainstream media myth. I'll talk to her. This mainstream media myth of Trump's the boogeyman. We got to beat Trump, and essentially saying, why is she so much better?
Well, I was talking similar to that, but basically my message is this: the Democratic Party is my party. I don't know what your political affiliation is, but there's millions of people in the United States who are Democrats. I have blood, sweat, and tears. I have a lot of skin in this game, and I want to save my party. And what I saw happen, which was finalized last night, is that I saw democracy being stolen from all of us, no matter what our party affiliation is. I do not vote on fear. I vote on issues. Who supports my issues? That's why I've given 14, 16 hours a day of volunteer time to help Bernie Sanders get elected the President of the United States. And we all saw, and then it was verified by the WikiLeaks email, that this was a rigged election. And so I am extremely angry with the establishment. I do not understand why even my president, who I also gave 14, 16 hours a day to get elected, did not call this out and did not stand for we the people, no matter who you support. I don't give a fuck about any of these candidates, to be quite honestly. I'm not Bernie's sheep. I care and I love him. Don't get me wrong. But the bottom line is this is a political revolution, and the people rose up and they got behind Bernie because he was behind them.
Right. And one thing that I think is really troubling is the attention it's getting from the media is now about the Russians possibly are orchestrating it, and they're trying to help Donald Trump. Let's not focus on emails that show money laundering between Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. Let's not focus on very, very clear pay-for-play emails that tell donors, oh, if you give me a check right now, we'll give you a cushy spot at the convention. All the things we know are going on, but the alternative universe, which are the lawmakers here, pretend don't go on. So the media is pretty much kind of deflect about Russian hackers, and are they trying to help Trump? Was Trump involved? It's I hear from a lot of delegates, it's kind of insulting your intelligence to kind of not focus on what's actually in these leaks. What do you think? You got to speak.
I think that the stuff that went on in the WikiLeaks, it needs to be the topic of discussion needs to be the fact that there is a rule in the DNC rules that says that the chairwoman and the party are to be neutral in primaries, and that rule was openly, blatantly, repeatedly broken.
I think also, when you look at the emails and all this, there's a broader problem. You have speaker after speaker, I think, giving platitudes. We got to break down barriers. We're stronger together. Fight for the middle class. You're talking about, I don't care about the candidates. I want the issues. I haven't heard a lot of specifics or really even the meat on the bone about how is Hillary Clinton going to help lift your wages? How's Hillary Clinton going to make healthcare cheaper and more affordable? And on we go. Really what we've been hearing is Trump's a menace and platitudes. Have you heard anything with speaker after speaker? We'll get to Bill Clinton in a minute. That make you feel this is still your party that's fighting for working class people?
No, I haven't. And right here, the Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment. It is in Bernie's platform. When the Equal Rights Amendment, which, by the way, women have been fighting for 100 years in America, when it is ratified, Pay equity will become a reality, and it will have the weight of the Constitution. It is in Bernie Sanders' platform. It is not in Hillary's. And people ask me, why? Well, I can't get in Hillary's head, but I can make a very educated guess. It's because of corporate donors. The corporations in America, and especially the Koch brothers, do not want the equal amendments ratified because it means pay equity, and they don't think women are worth our whole damn dollar, as Nina Turner says.
And Hillary Clinton, one of her big issues she's running on is closing the gender gap in pay and other circumstances. I asked her campaign manager on the campaign trail, can you tell me specifically how Hillary's going to close that income gap? Oh, she's going to work with Congress. The same Congress who's mostly old white males who have no interest in closing the income gap. To you, Bill Clinton spoke last night. I didn't see all of it. I read about it. But the gist was trying to introduce Hillary in a little softer way, a little explanation of how they met, the beginning of their relationship. One thing that kind of stood out to me is he kept mentioning this phrase, she's the real change agent. I mean, I'm just going to tell the facts. She was a first lady. As first lady, she was instrumental in getting millions of children, health care. So whether you like her or not, you got to give her credit for that. Other than that, as a senator, she was very instrumental in naming highways, naming post offices. She voted to bring foreign tax money back at 5% taxes, which was a huge giveaway to corporations. She voted to extend the Bush tax cuts. We know about Iraq. Secretary of State, I could go on. They're trying to push her as the real change agent. How does that message fall onto you? Because a lot of Bernie delegates, and frankly, some Hillary people I spoke to, there's a disconnect between what they're saying and what the record is.
Well, I mean, Hillary Clinton changes a lot of things, but mostly it's just her opinion. I think that if you look at, I wouldn't necessarily judge her that much by her legislative record, because generally speaking, if you're in the Senate or the House, unless you are somebody who is really iconic and in there for a long time like Ted Kennedy, your individual contributions are going to be kind of slim.
You got to point it towards
because of all of the collaboration that really has to go into anything that gets accomplished. But the thing I find a little frustrating about Hillary is you see a lot of people who are in that convention who are activists. These are people that have taken on causes that were unpopular, that weren't going to get anybody elected, and they've stood up for people who were on the margins of society and who would have been punished and ostracized by, mainstream politicians. And all of those people have fought so hard. And then you have somebody like Hillary Clinton who has never really taken a position that was dangerous. She's never really taken a position that was unpopular, and because she had a moral belief in it. And it's a little frustrating to see the accomplishments of the suffragettes, women who were, imprisoned and beaten and abused because they were fighting for women to get the right to vote. And then you have somebody like Hillary Clinton, who's probably never been to a protest in her life, is sort of reaping the rewards of what they did.
Right. And I think one thing that there's definitely a disconnect between her supporters and Bernie's supporters. I've had a lot of people say to me, like, you're all negative. Do you not care that history was just made? I've never heard a Bernie supporter say a woman shouldn't be president. I think we've heard them say, we just don't think this particular woman should be president. But I want to also get into beyond Hillary Clinton, particularly with you, because you have been involved with politics for a long time. I think this is beyond Hillary Clinton. I think we're seeing that the Democratic Party itself is on trial here this week. The Democratic Party, who for a long time has painted Republicans as the party of big business, the party in bed with Wall Street and corporate America. I mean, in the background of all this is lunches and breakfasts sponsored by big donors who gave a lot of money. Super volunteers, I've reported. Bernie Sanders has about 800 super volunteers that his campaign selected to come here. They were the best of the best, who worked the hardest throughout the campaign. They were brought in to basically be runners for their delegates. The first night, only 200 of 800 were given credentials, and they were put up in the nosebleeds. Now, all of them have been denied credentials. These are people that spent hundreds of dollars, in some cases thousands, to be here on their own dime, taking off work, whatever the circumstance. They've been blocked from coming in. You've had other Bernie delegates, from what I'm being told, have had their credentials threatened if They have things on social media that are Bernie or bust or things like that. How have you felt being here in terms of the Democratic Party that's trying to unify? Do you feel like they're doing anything to kind of bring you in the tent?
No, I do not. And earlier I said that I want to save my party. I want to save democracy. And the most recent thing that just blew me away in terms of the context of building unity, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign.
And by the way, behind the scenes, she went down kicking and screaming. She did not want to resign.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So she finally did. And what happens within a few hours? Hillary comes out and appoints her as her honorary chair of her campaign. Okay, so what does that say? It says that if you cheat, if you lie, if you give us a game, if you go after people and try to demoralize them because of their religion, I'm going to promote you. That is not a message of unity. The problem, the core problem within the Democratic Party right now is trust. And so we have to clean house all the way across the top. We need people like Nina Turner. We need people like Ben Jealous. We need people like Keith Ellison. And I can name a few other of the top surrogates that people trust that they are at the top because people trust them. And I believe even Hillary people trust them. They know that they tell the truth. I've talked to many Hillary delegates. Some of them, I'm on the executive committee of the Ross County Democratic Party. I'm born, raised there. Lots of Hillary supporters. I love these people, okay? I do not hate Hillary Clinton. I do not hate Donald Trump, and I love Bernie Sanders. But the bottom line is, if I was running Hillary's campaign, she needs to get the trust factor taken care of. You cannot say it's okay as to what Debbie did, promote her, and then come to people like me who want honesty and say, hey, come on down. I had someone say to me, are you over it yet? This morning, I said, over it? What do you mean? Over Bernie. I said, oh no, I'm going to continue to fight like hell for democracy in the Democratic Party. I want to make it clear. I am not trying to harm the Democratic Party. I am trying to save it.
But let's keep it real for a second. How do you trust a party, but a candidate who has changed her positions as the wind goes, who has changed her position as the polls go, who has changed her position, I mean, pretty much putting her finger up. She just picked a vice president, Tim Kaine, who, as of last week, was saying very positive things about the TPP, something that she says she's against. So that trust factor, how does Bernie supporters, not just Bernie supporters, but independents, Bernie crushed in the primaries among independents, how do they trust that what she could come out tomorrow and say, I'm a communist, and I want free health care, I want free everything. I mean, would you believe that? Would you trust it?
It'd be really hard for me to believe. Also, by the way, Tim Kaine has been promoting and lobbying for less regulation on the bank. The Hillary Clinton campaign has a tough road to hoe in the next 4 months, and people just expect me to fall in line. I vote on issues. She has work to do to win my vote. She has a lot of work to do. I don't know if she can get there. I may not know until the minute I push the lever what I'm going to do, but she has to prove to us. It's up to her to find out how to do that. Come on down to Ross County and talk to the women. Look us in the face and say, I will fight like hell for you. Sign a contract with me. I don't know. But what I do know is she's got a lot of work to do, and I don't know if she can get past that barrier.
Real quick, they're going to kill me, but I got to put this in. If you don't know, Real Clear Politics, kind of the gold standard for polling. When there's a bad poll against Hillary Clinton, they say, oh, you can't look at one poll. The Real Clear Politics average, which is an average of all the polls, this morning has Donald Trump up 1.1. That's statistically margin of error. It's essentially a toss-up. But I think when they're trying to unify, when they're saying, oh, Hillary really is the better candidate, don't believe the polls. Well, It's the end of July. There's 3 months left. Donald Trump, a quasi-fascist reality television star, is beating the Democratic candidate. He's up 1 point in the over 1 point in the average of polls. So I think what's done is done. She's officially the nominee. But if she does not win, and they start blaming you, and they start blaming you, and they blame the Young Turks, I think the obvious needs to be said. You had a candidate who was polling much better against him. You had a candidate who independents, millennials, everybody, his favorability rating, the only one with a positive favorability rating. Very quickly, what do you think of this poll showing, essentially, if the election were today, Donald Trump would be president?
Well, I think it's just a sign that people are frustrated and people are disengaged from the system. Because, I mean, if you look at the patterns and the demographics of this country, Hillary Clinton or any Democratic candidate should be winning by a very, very large margin against Donald Trump. And I think what this is, it's not that there is an overwhelming amount of support for Trump. I think it's just a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to vote for either of these people. I'm not going to get involved this year because I don't like either candidate.
All right. I want to thank both of you, Portia Bolger, delegate from Ohio, and Jennifer Lester, Virginia Beach delegate. I'll be outside today covering the Black Men for Bernie March and whatever other chaos ensues. And you could follow me on youtube.com/TYT Politics. Thank you, guys.